The chair now recognizes himself. Mr. Fong, what happened in the last decade? I mean, in your testimony, you said you drew our attention to a hearing 12 years ago. The Department of Homeland Security, there was a hearing on the Department of Homeland Security had retained a defense contractor to conduct round-the-clock monitoring of social media. And you said there was bipartisan opposition to that. What's happened in the last decade that we do not? Because here's the difference. Here's the big difference. The same agency, the Department of Homeland Security, last year tried to set up a disinformation governance board, some committee which is going to tell us what we're allowed to say, what we're not allowed to say, and the only side objecting to that was the Republicans. And so I'm like you, I want to know what's happened in the last 12 years.
I mean, a lot has changed. It wasn't that long ago that the Democratic Party stood up very strongly against the Department of Homeland Security and criticized it as a politicized agency.
By the way, Mr. Fong, you're not a Republican, is that right?
No, I'm an independent.
Okay, keep going.
But not that long ago, Democrats directly and forcefully criticized the Department of Homeland Security as an agency that run amok, that could interfere in our elections to help Republicans. This is an agency that's grown by billions of dollars since 9/11, that was originally set up to fight Islamic radicalization to prevent another terrorist attack, that now polices tweets, that now polices comments on Facebook and Instagram, that now, in a biased way, censors regular American legitimate speech on political issues.
The ranking member said in her opening statement that there's no evidence of censorship. Is that an accurate statement? Is there any evidence? Is there no evidence of censorship, Mr. Fong?
I mean, I just, on my Substack yesterday, showed a New York Times reporter, based on false information, being censored, being shadow banned.
Yeah, but I mean, you covered in the Twitter files. Government pressured Twitter to take down certain tweets by American citizens. Facebook got pressure from the White House to do the same. YouTube got pressure from the White House to do the same. They all work together in this project, this election integrity partnership, to do the same. On and on it goes. But they say, oh, we've had 6 hearings on censorship. I kind of think, Mr. Lukianoff, I kind of think the First Amendment's probably worth doing 6 hearings. I would say 60 hearings maybe better, maybe 600. I mean, we're talking about the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Well, Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz hit the nail on the head that I just kind of wish we could think about this as from a transpartisan point of view. They will immediately get this when it's a Republican administration trying to do the same thing. But we've presented a great deal of evidence that this is actually happening, that it's being encouraged by the government in many cases. The story that came out this morning, the idea of, say, Donald Trump decides to actually try to get a book removed from Amazon. If it was a book that people on my side of the political fence, on the left, liked, we'd freak out, and rightfully so. But at the same time, it seems like there's nothing we can actually do to get our own side of the political fence concerned about the idea of collusion between some of the most powerful people in Silicon Valley and in the country.
The censorship mob will come for them too, right? Right now, it's focused on. I mean, the Fifth Circuit said this. The court decision. It's focused primarily on conservatives, primarily on people on the political right. But it will come for the left too.
Oh, yeah, it already does.
It already does.
I defend people on the left on campus all the time. And it's very strange to try to get people to be concerned when even people they agree with are losing their jobs. My latest book, Canceling the American Mind, is filled with examples just from the past couple of years of professors on the left losing their job. Oh.
This is the reason I've invited more Democrats in here, Democrats like you guys or independents like you guys who actually embrace the First Amendment. This is what we spent the entire, as they rightly point out, we spent the entire first year of this Congress primarily in this subcommittee focused on what's happening to the First Amendment. Because I say this all the time. If you can't speak, if you can't talk, you can't practice your faith, you can't share your faith, you can't petition your government, you don't have a free press. I mean, that is the ability to speak is fundamental to how we do things in this great country. And if we lose that, oh my goodness. And you said something earlier that stuck with me. You said, we're losing even the ability to ask questions. Mm-hmm. It's not just statements. You can't even question. You could go back to COVID. You couldn't even say, I wonder if this thing came from a lab. If you just raised the question, you got censored. And down the line it went. We learned just a couple weeks ago, that Dr. Fauci, when he was asked, where did the 6-foot social distancing come from? You know what he said? We just sort of made it up. I'm not sure where it came from. And think of the impact that had. But if you question that, if you just ask the question, why do we have this? Half the time the stuff they tell us is just false. You can't even question that, for goodness sake. So that's why it's important we have these hearings. And folks like you who aren't on the same side of the political aisle as us are willing to come forward. And we appreciate it. I'll give you a chance to respond in the last 10 seconds.
When I was talking about literally questioning as well. Like one of the things that we did with ChatGPT was run the questions that we ask students about whether or not someone should be allowed to speak on a particular campus, and we were told one of the questions by ChatGPT was an inappropriate question to ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, and again, highlighting the danger of when this goes to scale and happens in real time with artificial intelligence. That is the frightening part. That's why we got to get this right.
It treats us like children, not citizens.
Well said. Well said.